It's time for Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. Sully's College Football Page is brought to you by the Hilltop Bar, Advantage Insurance, Tommy's Express Car Wash, Dwayne's Cover It All, Buck's Golf Shop, Jim Creeshock Jewelry, Big Fat Design, Sun Printing, Hot Nose, the Eye Clinic of Wisconsin, Peterson Kramer Funeral Home, Menzner Hardwoods, Krasowski Dental, the Cloverbelt Credit Union, France Propane, Subway, Webco of Wausau, the Kuhn Hearing Center, Carmelo's and Rip Mountain Golf Course, Joe Rader Towing, the Dirks Group, the Intermission Lounge, the Brokaw Credit Union, Champion Insurance, Trap River Golf Club, Central Wisconsin School of Ballet, Red Clover Market, Mountain Bay Auto Care, Charlie's Bar, the People's State Bank, the Mint Cafe, North End Pub, and the Travel Leaders. It's time now for Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO. And good morning and welcome to another edition of Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, on the Civic Media app, and also on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel and be able to hear and watch the show live as well. I am Chad Holmes, joined across the table by the founder and editor of Sully's College Football Page, Dan Sullivan. Sully, good morning.
Good morning, Chad. And as I was leaving the Mint after our Saturday morning breakfast, there were snow flurries out there.
Same thing. So, yeah, when I left my home, I noticed that as well. It's like the first time that I've seen the snow flurries.
I was thinking these Saturday mornings have just been sunny and really gorgeous, and today the old man winter's on the way.
Some football weather out there.
It is.
So we'll get everybody set for another Saturday of college football. Before we talk about the Badgers, and of course they're back in action, quick recap of some of the action, because nowadays you get college football games on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. And in fact, there were some significant results that do have some influence on perhaps even the college football playoff.
Last week it was Conference USA that was playing early on. Now what's been going on for the past several years is what they call MACtion. It's in the Mid-American. And they started on Tuesday with some really interesting games in that conference race.
The game that kind of jumped out from last night was that Memphis lost to Tulane 38-32. And I know that over the years, ever since Willie Fritz turned things around at Tulane, you've been, I think, on that Tulane bandwagon. They're having a terrific year. And that is a massive game because, as you said, Memphis is done in terms of their...
They were the poster child for the group of five last week, and now, Chad, it looks like they have no opportunity to get into the conference playoff, and they have no chance to get in as a standalone. So, yes, they're gone after that loss last night.
And I think when we talk about the rankings in the group of five later, I'm going to ask you. Who's on the pole position to try to work their way in from the group of five. So start thinking about that, because we're getting to that point now where it's getting down towards the wire in the regular season.
Well, and I got some thoughts on that. So when we get there, we'll pick that up.
Well, let's talk about the Badgers here, because I guess the first thing that I want to bring up is that this week, Chris McIntosh, the athletic director at the University of Wisconsin, made an announcement. He said Luke Fickell will be back in 2026. And there are a few people that are not thrilled with that. But I actually heard a good theory. I think it may have been from Paul Mickling last night, that one reason you make this announcement is apparently they lost a couple of commits.
Recruits.
And
sure.
when there is some doubt about whether or not a coach is going to be there, boy, that is death when it comes to recruiting, and that they want to stop the bleeding in that case. And that you make this announcement that he's going to be back, hopefully to try to make sure everybody that's coming to Wisconsin next year stays coming to Wisconsin.
Yeah, all you got to do is look around the country. Penn State, started to lose recruits right away when they're in Franklin, because look at these kids are actually being recruited by the assistants, and the relationship that they have is with those guys, not necessarily the school. Unless you're a kid that grew up in Pennsylvania, right, and Penn State is what is it all about in the end to you. Otherwise, it's the coaches. And so if you don't do that, then the reality is you're going to lose recruits.
And that's a perfect point, because even at the lower levels, Division III or whatever it be, because I will, on Wednesday nights, we have kids from this area that are part of our high school sports show, and sometimes they're being, they want to continue their athletic careers. It may not be at the Division I level, but when I ask, because they get texts and calls, and
sure,
people want them to come to their schools, it is almost always, when we ask them what they're looking for or why they decided to go somewhere, it was that relationship. It is all about the relationship with the head coach and the coaching staff. And boy, when there is doubt, and I mean, even Penn State with a great program, in the end, when they do decide who their coach is going to be, I'm sure that coach is going to be able to bring in, a lot of good talent. But in this interim period, you're going to see a lot of folks say, hey, I'm not going to just commit to the school. I got to know who this coach is. Does it fit what I want to do? So there's going to be a lot of doubt, and McIntosh is trying to take that away at Wisconsin. And I guess the next point I would make, what do you think? I mean, are you surprised that after, frankly, a disaster? I mean, the Badgers could be winless in the Big Ten this year. It truly is a disaster based on where this program has been since Barry Alvarez in the early 1990s. Are you surprised that Fickle could survive a season that perhaps goes 2-10 and loses 10 games in a row to finish the season?
Well, first of all, not really, because I'm a 5-year guy, and I would always say, look, at you have got to give a guy, whether it's basketball or football, you've got to give him 5 years, because then everybody that's in the program, they've recruited. All of those people that are there are theirs. Now, when I say you got to do it, nobody does that. No. Not today. But if you're talking about what makes the most sense to evaluate, I have a friend who coached high school. He didn't have a winning record for 10 years. Mm-hmm. He ended up as the winningest coach in Illinois history because he stayed for about 35 and he won over 300 games. So you don't know, and 5 years to me is reasonable. People want to win right away. And that now the poster child for this clearly is Indiana. Mm-hmm. They're ranked second in the country by the first college football playoff poll that came out. They're second, only Ohio State. And 3 years ago, if I would have told you that in 3 years, Indiana, you would have said, so you really need to see somebody. So not really am I surprised by that. I think it makes good sense at this point.
I think the one thing that, and again, I have, I see the results, but I also think that flushing $25 million down the toilet is not good use of resources either. So, I tend to agree that just firing coaches left and right is not the right way to go. But the thing about McIntosh that kind of frustrates me a little bit is the way that he did, I thought, cold-bloodedly fire a very successful Badger, both in terms of a graduate and a terrific coach in Paul Chryst, the way he did a few years ago. He said, "Oh, this ain't good enough. We're 2-3 at that point of the season. The man's record was still outstanding, and he cut him off right in the middle of the season, early in the season." That's again kind of I still have a bad taste in my mouth the way that was done, and it doesn't mean that a second midseason replacement. I think all these midseason replacements are cruel in a way. I just think the way that they're the way that the mindset is now. Once they started firing, they're all deciding, we have a couple bad games, we're going to fire our coach. I just think that's wrong, and I just think you're not treating people the right they should be treated.
Yeah, and look, I don't see a real upside for this unless you have a replacement in mind and you're able to publicize that. Because if you're worried about recruiting, which it seems to be driving this, firing Paul Chris like they were or like they did bordered on unethical. The guy had won 72% of his games. The Badgers were in a 22-year streak of being bowl eligible every year. Only Oklahoma had 25 and Georgia had 27 straight. Pretty good company. Badgers at 22. Now, chances are today for the second year in a row, we're going to be bowl eligible. So, people are now saying get rid of Fickell. No, I don't think that's I don't think it was right what they did with Chris, nor do I think it makes any sense to fire a guy in the middle of the year.
I know that you're exactly right, because you keep the only guys you can really talk to are people that are not in a job right now. And that's usually not the people you're going after. So you have to wait until basically we get to the end of the regular season anyways to talk to some of these folks. I guess you're just saying, hey, everybody, we're putting a flag out that, hey, this job is going to be open. But at the same time, again, you can't do a whole lot. I mean, I wouldn't put it past these folks, because I just think there's a lack of ethics in the hierarchy of these academic institutions. I put in quotation marks, because I wouldn't put it past that all these sleazy operators, especially the money people, are using back channels to talk to people who are currently in jobs and trying to do their work.
Yeah, and if you look at it this way, it may have a negative impact for a year on your high school recruiting, but it doesn't do anything to inhibit the portal.
Exactly.
So you can go in there and see who's out there, spend some money, and you can start to plug needs. And so I'm with you. Let them finish the year and then make a decision as to where you're headed next.
Today, Badgers home at Camp Randall, taking on the Washington Huskies. Big Ten Network. they've dropped off the major network part of the schedule. Later this afternoon, Washington having a solid season, 6-2, 3-2 in the Big Ten Conference. Badgers 2-6, 0-5 in the Big Ten Conference. I said it last week that I do think that the Badgers have a win in them, and that maybe this could be the game. 10.5-point favorites are the Washington Huskies. Maybe I'm just feeling overly optimistic. I don't know. Maybe. Getting that vote of confidence will help the program. I don't know, but what's your take about this matchup? Because Washington, again, Jed Fish has had a nice bounce back season at Washington.
Yeah. First of all, Washington is two teams. One, when they're on the road, they're vulnerable. When they're at home, they are a much different club. So we got them on the road, so that's a good thing. The thing that surprised me was that Wisconsin has never beaten Washington. They're 0-4 against them. They've only played 4 times, but the Badgers have yet to beat them. So I am hopeful today is the day. Now, the simulator looked at the game and said in all 8 categories, Washington outperforms the Badgers, whether it's passing the ball, running the ball, total offense, third down conversions, turnovers, red zone scoring, and the actual scoring of points and limiting points. Washington has outperformed the Badgers to this point.
Badgers are averaging 12.3 points per game. I mean, that's pretty amazing. I mean, that is among the worst in the country, and it is just mind-boggling based on what Wisconsin has been able to do for decades.
Yeah, and in the last couple of games, they've been outscored 32-3. Has been the average score in the last 3 games. So, maybe we're going to see the freshman, that Hunter Jones. Fickell said you might see him today. There's no reason not to play him. It's not going to affect redshirt, anyway, you could redshirt him if you chose. And then I read where, Van Dyne, am I saying that right? Or Van Dyke, the former quarterback from a couple of years
From
ago.
the guy from Miami?
Yes.
Van Dyke, yeah.
Yeah, he's talking about coming back. And then,
how many years are these guys hanging around?
I don't know.
He must be in about his 8th year of college football. And he's been, how many schools has he been to?
Billy Edwards. So it looks like you're going to have 5 quarterbacks.
Oh, Billy Everett, I imagine he'd be redshirted, right? Or something, because he hasn't played.
So
I don't know. I have no idea what's going on here.
Well, they're talking a lot about it because I think they need
Where
to
did
talk
Van
about
Dyke
it.
go to? Where's he now?
I don't know. I have no idea, Jen. I just know that I saw a headline. I didn't get
By the way,
it.
I'm going to jump in here. Recruit a high school quarterback and develop him. Stop it. Stop this carousel of transfer quarterbacks. It's time to take a step back. The program, when we started this rotation under Fickle, is because he came in with the expectation of competing for a college football playoff. That's why they brought him in, right? All right, that hasn't worked. It's time to tear that away and bring in a guy you can develop. I mean, what do you think? I mean, this idea of bringing in another quarterback every single year, maybe if you're knocking on the door, it may be the difference between being, just outside the playoff and being in the playoff. I could see it then. But where the Wisconsin Badger football program is right now, the idea of bringing back Van Dyke, it's insanity in my mind.
Well, that's why I was saying earlier that this Hunter Jones, why not?
Let's
see what the kid can do. And, the other thing that I've said for years now, the portal is not sustainable in a way to recruit because you don't know who's going to be available. And it's a bidding war, and so you may think this guy's a great fit, but you're not able to get him because somebody else is offering more money. So, the staple of your program has to be your high school recruiting. And it should start with the quarterback. I think Wisconsin's identity kind of went away. Mm-hmm. They couldn't get these high-powered quarterbacks because they were, the massive offensive line and the great run game. And then the quarterback was really integrated.
A game manager.
Yeah, and the play action, right? Yeah. I mean, they would run that and suddenly you didn't have the burners on the perimeter, but the play action gave them that extra step to create some separation, and it worked.
And the thing is, they could sell that they did have multiple NFL quarterbacks. It was not a wide open, throw it all over the place offense, right. But I mean, you had Brooks Bollinger make it to the NFL. Even Stave had the opportunity to make it to the NFL. He was in camp and may have been on regular season rosters. And I mean, I think there's a few others that I may be missing. But I mean, going back to Russell Wilson even, but it's not necessarily a dead end situation by being part of that kind of offense either. So
no, and look, you don't have to get a superstar that's NFL bound. We've proven over the years you can win 10, 11 games, get to a New Year's Six bowl back in the day with what we were doing.
Exactly.
And so they decided, there's a book, and I think I mentioned this before, Jimmy Collins wrote Good to Great. And one of the themes of the book is that good is the enemy of great. Yeah. And so they adopted that. They wanted to be great. Well, you know what? Then you need more time, because the 2 years, it's this transition period with the bizarre nature of what's happened to the quarterbacks. 3 years in a row, you get guys hurt in the first couple of games is bizarre. But I'm with you. You need to get that position resolved. And the way to get the position resolved, in my opinion, is to go and get a high school player who, is certainly talented and then develop him into your system.
And I guess finally, because we are already running late because we're talking way too much about minutia within the Wisconsin Badger football program. What do you think is going to happen today, Badgers in Washington?
I have long since stopped being optimistic about the Badgers. I did when you and I were here, and we began in the 23rd of August, I think was our first show. we talked about the Badgers having a shot to be bowl eligible. And, we talked about winning the first 2 games. Then we talked about them beating Maryland.
Yeah.
Then we knew we had to beat Iowa.
Fines, yeah.
Yeah, and then we had Washington and at the end Minnesota, and those are our 6 wins.
Have to win those home games.
Yes, and it certainly hasn't, and we were hoping we could get to the Minnesota game, which is a road game.
Yeah.
But nonetheless,
with a chance.
Yes.
But you have to win them all.
Yeah.
Are they going to win today?
My take is Washington is not a great team on the road, but based on what I've seen from the Badgers, I would be surprised if the Badgers were able to survive them, because Washington, believe it or not, still has a path to get, they can finish 10-2 and then flip a coin.
All right. So Badgers taking on Washington, 3:30 on the Big Ten Network later today. We're going to come back and look at the rest of the Big Ten Conference. There was a game last night we'll probably touch on, but we'll talk about last week's action and this week's action as well. Coming up next on Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO.
Choose an agency with true 5G coverage. Advantage Insurance of Wausau. Great companies, great agents, great service, great rates, and great claims results. At Advantage Insurance, they support our local community and back you always. Call Advantage Insurance today for all of your insurance needs, or go to AdvantageInsuranceWausau.com. They offer top-rated coverage and the best agents that provide you a true 5G experience for the best total coverage for all your insurance needs.
Chief, we've got a situation.
What is it?
Trouble at the naval base, sir. I'll put it on the screen.
Jiminy Christmas, what happened to all our boat covers?
That's not the worst of it, sir.
No!
Afraid so, sir.
Not the boat upholstery, too. All those holes? It looks like Swiss cheese.
It's funny you mention that, sir. We found the culprit.
All right, Mouse, who are you working for? The Russians? Take him to the brig and get Agent Dwayne from CIA on the horn now. Dwayne's covered off. Dwayne speaking. Agent Dwayne, your country needs you. A terrorist mouse has chewed up every single boat cover and piece of upholstery in the Navy.
I'll patch up what I can and replace what I can.
Agent Dwayne, you're a great American.
Just doing my job.
Boat covers, seat upholstery, camper, deck, or patio awnings. When you need something covered or upholstered, call the CIA. Dwayne's Cover It All. Commercial accounts are welcome. Call or email Dwayne. Visit Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com.
Tommy's Express Car Wash at 102 Bridge Street in Wausau and 1611 Schofield Avenue in Weston has the tools and experience to keep your car clean inside and out. Our wash packages let you pay for the services you want, including Tommy Garden Body Wax, wheel cleaning and tire gloss, an underbody flush and spot-free rinse. Give your vehicle the cleaning it deserves at Tommy's Express at 102 Bridge Street in Wausau and 1611 Schofield Avenue in Weston.
It takes a lot to impress us at Jim Krishock Jewelers. I mean, we see gorgeous diamonds, gemstones, and incredible jewelry every day that we've chosen for our selection. But when a diamond jewelry line like this one comes along, well, our eyes really widen up and our mouths drop open and our hearts beat a little faster. Yours will too when you stop in and check out our Fire and Ice collection of diamonds and diamond jewelry. Their slogan is bigger, brighter, whiter. And it's a difference you can see, which is the most important. Each Fire and Ice diamond is cut to maximize the performance of light coming into and leaving the diamonds to create amazing sparkle and brilliance. So whether you're planning on getting engaged or upsizing your current diamond, or just want something completely new with more sparkle and dazzle than you've ever seen before, stop in and check out our Fire and Ice collection. It's exclusively available right here at Jim Krishock Jewelers at our one and only location on Rib Mountain Drive in Wausau.
Joe Rader Towing in Wausau offers 24-hour-a-day towing, lockout service, and roadside assistance throughout central Wisconsin. You can count on Joe Rader's experienced team to get to you fast. Family owned and operated. When you need a tow, call Joe at 715-212-4762.
The Intermission Bar, located in the heart of downtown Wausau, is a warm, friendly, comfortable spot to enjoy time with old friends and meet new ones as well. Free live music 3 nights a week featuring some of the Midwest's finest talent. The Intermission, a social establishment.
And welcome back. It is Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO. Let's jump right in and talk about the Big Ten Conference. We'll start with the game sites west of the Mississippi. Let's first talk about what happened last week. And Ohio State beat Penn State 38-14. Quickly on that one, I thought maybe Penn State, and then again, they kind of battle for a while, but that's they have like their back-to-back big games, so they're not going anywhere. They had a chance to make something happen there, and they got some chance today to make
With
something
Indiana,
happen.
sure.
But what's your take on Ohio State and Penn State? In that
Look,
game?
Penn State's roster didn't go away. They still have a very good roster. In fact, Urban Meyer was quick to point out that Penn State had more 4 and 5 stars than Ohio State. He talked about both rosters are loaded, but he must have did a little head count and found out that Penn State had 3 more 4 or 5 stars than Ohio State. It was a 3-point game in halftime, but their quarterback is out. Aller's out. Pabula also got hurt. He's at Missouri now, but so they were down to basically from where they were a year ago, 3rd string guy. And they just couldn't sustain it. Ohio State's too good.
Michigan beat Purdue 21-16. So Michigan survived a pretty tight one. And Purdue, they haven't won a Big Ten game, but they're still a much improved program.
Oh, there's no doubt that Barry Odom will get that right. He did great work at Missouri. He did really good job when he was out at UNLV. The bottom line is Purdue is going to get better, period.
Indiana beat Maryland 55-10. And we talked about it last week. Indiana does not have letdowns. I mean, and Maryland, as we've talked about, they got talent. They went over there and they just whooped them. I mean, it's such a very impressive job that Cignetti continues to do.
Well, Maryland lost. They were beating Washington 20-0, and Washington found a way and ended up winning that game 24-20. 2 other games they lost by 3 points. So Maryland has found a way to be in just about either win it or be right there. And then they ran into Indiana, and Indiana dismantled them. And whatever Cignetti does, to your point about they always seem to be ready to go, that's a fact. And whatever Cignetti does, people who at that level should be talking to him, see if they can get some insights to that.
USC rallied past Nebraska 21-17. I was saying to you during the break that that game changed when Nebraska lost Raiola.
No, and the kid that's replacing him is TJ Lateef, pretty highly touted recruit. So we'll see what he's going to be doing going forward, because Nebraska is not out of this completely yet in terms of maybe getting a shot. Problem for them is it's going to have to be an at-large with Indiana and Ohio State both undefeated. It's unlikely that they'd be able to get in that way.
Illinois kind of reset things, and for the first time in a while, they finally got their defense going. They've been giving up a lot of points, and they beat Rutgers 35-13. I actually thought that would be a bit of a closer game.
Yeah, Schiano is another guy that kind of meat and potato guys, and they're going to play the game to the best of their ability that's in front of them. He's always coached that way. So I was a little surprised by the separation that Illinois was able to get.
And then an overtime game, Minnesota beat Michigan State 23-20 in overtime. A game that, again, I've been saying to you that I've been reading a lot of stuff that Michigan State coach Jonathan Smith is in trouble. And you talk about the 5-year thing. He's only in his 2nd year, but there's a lot of heat right now over in East Lansing. He could have used a win. Minnesota got the W. And again, a big win as Minnesota continues to be there on the periphery of what's going on in the Big Ten as well.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like PJ because of his antics. That guy is a very good coach. You got to look past him running 90 miles an hour at the end of the 3rd quarter or rowing the boat or whatever. The bottom line is they win. I mean, you look at, they had lost 15 or 16 or 17 in Wisconsin until he got there. Now they have a winning record, and they're about to go up. If things go according to Hoyle, they're about to go up by 2 in that rivalry. So, and Jonathan Smith, personally, I think he's a very good coach, but he's struggling there. And sometimes, like when I think back to a guy like Duffy Doherty, no, Jonathan Smith doesn't fit that mode, and maybe it's just not a good fit for him at State.
And then last night, there was a game in the Big Ten Conference in L.A. as USC knocked off Northwestern. And again, USC, boy, I mean, Lincoln Riley still, I think, is getting it has not seemed like I would call it a cultural fit. But yet now he's got this team in a spot where if they do the job the rest of the way, they'll be in the playoff if they keep winning.
Yeah, I think people, for whatever reason, decided they didn't like Lincoln Riley.
Well, the way he handled the press, I think, did not help.
Well,
that he's above it all.
He's not at Norman anymore. You got the LA deal going. Those two receivers, the L boys, Lemon and Lane, those guys are right there among the best combination of receivers I know Tate and Smith are a different level, but they're close. And those guys, whether they're looking at a zone, they find a place to sit, and they're a threat once they catch it. And if it's man, they just run away from you. They get you to take a step, with some feints in the wrong direction, and they're gone. And their quarterback is delivering the ball, and he is playing with a lot of machismo. He is very aggressive. And I think SC, they have 2 losses, but one of them is outside the conference, and so they are fighting to be that third team, if you're looking, or fourth team. And then we're going to talk later about who they got left. And SC's got some games that can vault them right in, as does Iowa, and Oregon has got to play both of them. So, the reality here is there's a lot more football to be played.
We're going to take a timeout now and then talk about today's games all throughout the Big Ten Conference. So that's coming up next as we continue on Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO.
I only travel once or twice a year, but when I do, I go big. Exotic places, incredible hotels, new experiences. It has to be memorable. That's why I call Travel Leaders of Wausau. They get me, and they take care of all the details, so I don't have to worry about a thing.
Travel Leaders gets you, and we get you there. Travel better. Call Travel Leaders of Wausau at 715-355-4437.
And can't forget the sandals. And the right sunglasses.
Hello, my name is Steve Brickner. Here at Brickner Motors in Little Chicago, we'll help you order your brand new Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, or Jeep and get it equipped the way you want it and the color you've always dreamed of. That means you won't overpay for something you don't want. Quality vehicles and competitive prices are what keep people coming back again and again. Make the drive out to Brickner Motors on Little Chicago's northeast side and let our family take care of your family.
You can count on us. Yes, you can.
The Kuhn Hearing Center is a family-owned and operated hearing care facility located at 1699 Schofield Avenue, Suite 106 in Schofield. Dr. Tim Kuhn has been practicing audiology in the greater Wausau-Weston area for 26 years. Dr. Kuhn works closely with several audiology agencies, including Signia Hearing Aids and Accessories, which provides access to the latest and most advanced technologies in the hearing industry. For more info, check them out online at kuhnhearing.com or call 715-298-5511.
Big Fat Designs can give your company the cutting-edge look it needs to attract customers and stand out from the rest. From websites and print designs to logos and letterheads, Big Fat Designs is your effective and affordable marketing solution. E-commerce, online customer database, video and audio players, Big Fat Designs does it all. And the best part, you deal with someone locally to talk with, to meet with, working hands-on towards your success. Big Fat Designs in Wausau. Find out more online at bigfatdesigns.com.
It's Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices, and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. With Sully, I'm Chad Holmes, and let's talk about the action coming today in the Big Ten Conference. We talked about last night's game. We also talked about Washington at Wisconsin a little bit earlier as well. And then you got Nebraska and UCLA. And Nebraska, and that was a tough loss for them because they had the potential of moving, I think, really into that conversation. But that loss to USC really hurt them. And UCLA, again, they've shown signs of life ever since making the coaching change.
Yeah, that was their third loss, Chad, and so that kind of removed them from.
That was an elimination game.
Yeah, it really was, because right now you've got Indiana and Ohio State are kind of in their own little tier, and then Oregon is sitting right there with some big games coming. But when Nebraska lost to SC, that moved them to 3 losses. It eliminated them from any opportunity of maybe being the 4th team in the Big Ten to have an opportunity to get in the playoff.
Absolutely. Man, a massive game coming today. This is the game, actually, of all of them, I kind of want to watch, because Oregon and Iowa, 2 different mentalities about what successful football is. Oregon over the years has been, Nike money and flashy and 85 different uniforms and putting up big point totals. And then it's Iowa, and they might, win 11-6 or something like that.
Yeah, they want to play, they're like an Iowa hog. They want to play right in the mud, and they want to force the game into the meat, the meat grinder, where Oregon wants to play in space. And so you've got 2 philosophies. One, Iowa was okay with winning the game 3-2. They're okay with that. And, when you look at Oregon, you think they're okay with winning 100-99, So you've got 2 different mentalities, as you had mentioned, coming into the game. And who can get control of the game? Can Iowa defend them? In other words, can they keep them in front of them, inside of them, and then smack them, make the game very physical? Where Oregon, they want to be throwing the ball down the field and getting their athletes one-on-one with Iowa defenders.
And whatever Iowa did in terms of preparing for this game, I hope they looked at what Wisconsin did defensively, because whatever Wisconsin's been doing defensively against Oregon the last 2 years has worked. And maybe there is that certain upper Midwest toughness that maybe causes a little bit of an issue for a team like Oregon.
Yeah, well, the Pac-10, the Pac-8, the Pac-12. I mean, they've been a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
The rap on them is they always have wanted to play a finesse game, where the Big Ten was always more the physical power game. And so these teams aren't very familiar with each other. Over the years, they've only played 3 times, I think 2-1. So it's as close as it could be in terms of winning and losing this game. And so I think today, as much as anything, is a struggle to get control of the type of game that's being played. And so Iowa is going to pound at them. And I'll tell you something else. When you watch Iowa, their special teams, they have all kinds of speed.
Mm-hmm.
They got guys that can run away from you, which is a little different. You got to go back to Timmy DeWhite, before you saw that kind of speed. But I'll tell you, on special teams, if Iowa can pop one of those guys, they can go.
Indiana and Penn State. And if you would have said 2 years ago, one of the teams would be 9-0 overall, 6-0 in the conference. The other team would be 3-6 overall and 0-5 in the conference. Which team you would say would be undefeated and either, second or third or whatever in the country, and the other team just looking for that first conference win and trying to somehow get to 6 wins overall to get into a bowl game. It's completely flipped.
It has.
But you said it earlier. Those rosters are still there.
Yeah.
Penn State still has that roster. This game is in Happy Valley. Could there be a massive upset today?
Certainly. I mean, defensively, they've got, a high-powered quality defense. They're at home, and so it's possible, and perhaps more than possible. And yet Indiana just seems to, find a way to get ready to go.
They show up every week. That is so impressive.
And you and I, after UCLA shocked Penn State after the Oregon loss, and then you and I were talking with Iowa, Ohio State, and Oregon. Shockingly, it was not unreasonable to think Penn State could be 0-6 in the Big Ten, and they are absolutely on their way, Chad, to doing that. I mean, and the odds today say they will be 0-6, which I wonder what kind of odds we could have got in Vegas if we said that Penn State's going to be 0-6 in the Big Ten.
Absolutely. So that I think will be very interesting as well. Ohio State and Purdue, this game being played in West Lafayette. 30.5-point favorites are Ohio State. But Purdue, again, has been better. But boy, Ohio State has just been, again, like Indiana, they've been consistent.
Yeah, and the thing about the relationship between Ohio State and Purdue has actually, other than Michigan, and then, of course, Michigan hit that terrible, where they lost 14 of 15 or whatever it was. Purdue has actually played them pretty well over the years. And there was about an 8-year period where they played 6 times and Purdue was 3-3. Yeah. Purdue had the best record against Ohio State. And we're going back not centuries ago. We're going back to around 2000, from 2010, say to 2015, counting the 10 game, about 6 years where they won 3 times. And like I said, we're 500 against them. All that said, I don't think it matters. I think Ohio State now is close to the finish line. Yeah. And you can bet those guys are talking, we're going to score points. And right now they may have the best functioning defense in the country.
Yeah. And then finally, Maryland and Rutgers. You see 1 win each in the Big Ten Conference, but a massive game for both these squads because they do want to get those bowl games, become bowl eligible. And for both these teams, that makes this a must win, doesn't it?
It does. I think when you look down the road of who they got to play, you got to get that 6th win, and they're both sitting there at 4. And Rutgers a little further behind the 8 ball because they're 4-5, where Maryland is 4-4. I have to tell you, I know the game is at Rutgers, but I was a little surprised that Rutgers was favored by the boys and girls in the desert. They're saying it's a 2.5 spread. Now, the simulator kind of agrees with that. It says flip a coin. When you look at the 8 categories that it assesses by the numbers, it says it's a 4-4 push. So this, while it's not going to have the national flavor of a big-time game, it is a very big to these teams in terms of bowl eligibility, and it is a relatively even game going in.
And, of course, we have nearly a handful of byes.
Yes.
Minnesota's on a bye. We have Illinois on a bye. Michigan is on a bye, and Michigan State's on a bye. So those teams they shouldn't be getting byes in November.
Well, and I've got a question for you. Do you think Michigan State, who's 0-6, if things go according to Hoyle today, do you think an 0-6 Michigan State can beat an 0-6 Penn State next week?
A good question.
Yeah,
I'm gonna savor that for a week and then tell you next week.
Okay, very good.
So that's the Big Ten Conference coming up for today. Coming up next, we'll start delving into some rankings. We will start with the FCS Top 15, and that's coming up next as we continue here on Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO.
Thinking about changing to organic or natural foods? Then you need to stop at Red Clover Market at the Total Rental location in Weston. Family-owned Red Clover Market, your healthy natural food store. Open Monday through Saturday.
Looking for a part for your vehicle? Look to Hilltop Auto Wrecking in Wausau. Hilltop Auto Wrecking can help you find just about any part you need for your car, truck, or SUV. They have a great selection of auto glass and tires with lots of sizes ready to go. Hilltop Auto Wrecking is always looking to buy vehicles, so if you're stuck with an older junker, they can haul it away for cash. Hilltop Auto Wrecking, family owned and operated for over 40 years at 237-934 Del Rio Road, formerly 6806 North 33rd Street, Wausau. Call 715-675-3258.
For more than 60 years, Sun Printing has been Central Wisconsin's commercial printer of choice due to their commitment to quality, creative solutions, and dedicated service. Sun Printing's team offers you a wide spectrum of services. Whether you need offset, digital, large format, graphic design, or mailing, they print everything under the sun. No project is too big or too small. So give Sun Printing a call at 845-4911 or visit them online at sunprinting.com.
Since 1981, Lopnos has been Wausau's favorite sports bar. Grab a bit of Wausau's past while you're watching your favorite sports teams at their historic turn-of-the-century establishment. Lopnos is the perfect place to catch all the sports action on their 15 enormous flat-screen TVs, enjoy a night on the town with friends, or have a celebration in their private party room. A great place for birthdays, anniversaries, clubs, or meetings. Lopnos, Wausau's oldest and finest sports bar, 3rd Street, Wausau.
For over 40 years, Champion Insurance has been helping business owners protect themselves. They also offer protection for your home, auto, and other personal assets as well. Local family owned and operated. Champion Insurance. They got you covered. Schofield Avenue, Schofield.
It's Sully's college football page on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. Time to start talking some rankings, starting with the FCS. And by the way, when do the playoffs begin for FCS?
Well, they're going to start before the bowl season. Typically, they usually start the second week in December, and it aggravates me a little bit because that's when Army plays Navy.
Right.
And, as a kind of a traditionalist, I like nothing else there. So, I prefer, if they're going to do that, to play those games on Friday night. But that's when it starts, and they'll take 24 teams, and 16 will play, 8 will get buys, and then so they get it back to that even number of 8 games that second week. So it's coming.
All right, well, let's jump in. Number 15, Tarleton State, 9-1 on the season, beat Eastern Kentucky last. Again, we've talked about them quite a bit. One of those Texas schools, right?
It is out of Texas, and they're kind of in transition. And if you remember, they had worked their way up, I believe, to second.
Yes, they did, right up there.
And we dropped them pretty significantly because, in part, they'll play Division II schools. Like, they have 2 or 3 on their schedule. And so they're not playing the same kind of rigor.
Right.
And yet they were unbeaten, and they were beating teams that were pretty solid. But they, they lost. And then we decided, as we looked at the totality of their work, they still should be ranked, but we did drop them to 15.
Number 14, Mercer, 7-1 from the SoCon. They beat I don't know if we've ever mentioned this school before, Lincoln of California, their last game. So you always look to see the schools that have never been mentioned, and maybe you've mentioned Lincoln of California before, but I don't recall that. So another one put on the tote board.
And honestly, there's a Lincoln, Missouri, and there's a Lincoln somewhere else that are all HBCU schools. And so, and none of them are very good. They're a little bit like, there's a school, Delta State or something, that plays up, and they just get hammered, when they do. And that would be these guys. So Lincoln actually played Mercer closer than I thought they would. It was 38-0. Mercer, 7-1. Lone loss is to Presbyterian, which is bizarre for the SoCons to have lost to the Pioneer.
Speaking of which, Presbyterian, number 13 for the Pioneer, 8-1 after beating Valpo 43-14.
Yeah, and Presbyteria's got Davidson today. They beat Valpo last week 43-14, and they're a 25-point favorite in this game. So Presbyterian, in all the years I've done the site and then the show, this is far and away the best they have ever been.
Number 12, Stephen F. Austin beat Northwestern State 41-14. They're now 7-2. And up next, Incarnate Word. Wasn't Incarnate Word pretty good recently?
Incarnate Word is the largest Catholic school in They've been.
They've been. They're 2-6 this year.
They've been into the semifinals. So I think given the hotbed of high school football in Texas. I think they've been able to recruit pretty well. But obviously, Chad, they're either young this year or that the talent access has dried up a little bit. But you are 100% right. This is the poorest season they've had, kind of the opposite direction of Presbyterian.
Number 11, Rhode Island, the Rams, 7-2, beating Bryant 38-17, and they're on a bye this week. But I always like Rhode Island Rams. That's always I'm a big fan of the Rhode Island Rams.
Okay.
But basketball, they've often had some pretty good teams.
Oh, and you know they'll flirt in the CAA, you know, the Coastal Athletic Association, not Colonial.
Yeah.
And so this is it's not rare, but I would use the word it's unusual for this team to be this high this late, because they would run into some teams like Villanova or other teams in the Coastal that are awful good.
Very good. And now we get to the top 10. At number 10, UC Davis, 6-2, but they lost to Idaho State 38-36. And then they have the other Idaho big dog, Idaho the Vandals, coming up next. But that had to have been that's significant, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, because UC Davis has been flirting, you know, with the Montana schools. You keep in mind, though, that Idaho, the team they're playing this week, was an FBS program in the WAC, and then they made the transition in reverse. They kind of went back to the FCS, and you know, Idaho State have both been pretty good teams in what is one of the best conferences in the FCS, and that would be the Big Sky.
And that's one that kind of jumped out when I was looking at this, that it's basically a pick'em game, even though UC Davis 6-2, Idaho 4-5. But I guess, you know, that shows the tightness within that league.
Yeah, and people are expecting a lot of scoring in this game. They got the over or the total at around 57. So yeah, you know, and the point spread, you don't see that very often. 0.5, you know, so it's pretty close.
Frankly, that should be just pick 'em, because you can't 0.5 will not make a difference because there's no ties anymore.
You know, I did check with NASA, and they didn't think that was possible. So
number 9, Monmouth from the Coastal Athletic Association. They beat Hampton 28-10. They're now 8-1. They have a conference game against 2-6 Bryant coming up next. Monmouth.
Hey, you know, they have for the past few years been near the top of that league. And, you know, there's been transition over the last decade. Massachusetts left, Connecticut left. Teams have moved to other conferences. And so, you know, the league is somewhat depleted, but Mammoth is playing at a high level and typically is in the top 15 every year and are pretty frequent flyers into the playoffs.
Number 8, North Dakota. They're 6-2. They roughed up the Sycamores of Indiana State 46-17, and they've got probably the one they circle every year. They got a trip against North Dakota State coming up.
Yeah, you know, and one of the things that happened with Indiana State a couple of weeks ago, they beat South Dakota State. I mean, I was shocked because Indiana State usually struggles with Valpo, which is a non-scholarship pioneer team. So, and North Dakota, the week that North Dakota State played South Dakota State, North Dakota played South Dakota. So the Dakota schools were hooked up, and South Dakota beat them. The reason they're not ranked is that was an upset, but they found a way against North Dakota.
Then we have at number 7, Montana State, 6-2. They beat Northern Colorado 55-7, and they have Weber State, 3-6 squad coming up next.
Yeah, you know, and we were giving Montana State a lot of credit for that close loss to South Dakota State. South Dakota State did not show up when they played North Dakota State. It was like 38-7 or something. And then losing Indiana State, you're starting to wonder where they're at as a program, or I should not say as a program, but as a team. So Montana State keeps rolling along. And yet they look right now to be playing second fiddle in their own state to Montana.
Number 6 is South Dakota State. They're 7-2. They, as you said, they lost to Indiana State 24-12, and now got a must be within the Missouri Valley Football Conference rivalry week because they got South Dakota coming up.
Yeah, and we'll see, but and when South Dakota plays South Dakota State,
throw the records out.
Yeah. And North Dakota then typically will play North Dakota State, so they kind of do that. It's probably a big celebration within the Dakotas. Anyway, this will be a very interesting game because I would tell you, based on what's occurred lately, South Dakota State is at risk in this game with South Dakota.
Number 5 from the Ivy League, the Crimson of Harvard. They're still undefeated. They beat Dartmouth 31-10, and now they have struggling Columbia, who's 1-6.
Yeah, and they beat them last night. It was like 41. It was in the, we had it earlier.
They're still struggling.
Yeah, they are. And so it was like 31 or 41-14. It was not
31-14. Yep, you had it there.
Okay.
So Harvard still undefeated 8-0, and again, this is the first time that they will be in the playoffs.
I am very much looking forward to it. Because, Chad, when I'm looking at recruiting, it's not unusual to see an Ivy League team, at 113th best recruiting. Now, that would put them in the FBS number realm because there are 136 FBS teams, which are the 84, now the 105 equivalent scholarships. And so, it's going to be interesting based on how they recruit, how well that translates into, into advancement in the playoffs. So that's something I think that's a new wrinkle and really an interesting one.
Lehigh is 9-0 from the Patriot League, beat Georgetown 41-0. They have 1-8 Holy Cross coming up next. What do you know about Lehigh?
Well, first of all, anytime you say Lehigh, I always think of Lafayette. And that, that is the oldest rivalry in all of college football. Mm-hmm. Lehigh typically is a good program. They win games every year. They're ranked every year. They get in the playoffs. And it's not unusual for them to win a game. And then, I wouldn't say it's a regular occurrence, but I have seen them go into the third round. So, even though they don't offer, they do, they're in the Patriot League. And, they're pretty competitive in that league. And then they do pretty well in the tournament.
And then at number 3, Tennessee Tech, who is 9-0. They had a tight one against Gardner-Webb, winning 27-21, and they have Eastern Illinois coming up.
And, you hear people talk about you're not what your record says you are. And I would be suspicious of Tennessee Tech once they get in with the Missouri Valley or the Big Sky. Those teams, I think, are just going to overwhelm them with talent and skill sets and such. But yet they're 9-0. Mm-hmm. And, we always say this is a win-loss ranking because we don't get a lot of time to study these teams. They have played at a high level in terms of the competition, but I'm anxious to see how they do once we get the tournament squared away and we get rolling.
Number 2, Montana, the Grizzlies, or the Grizz. What is the nickname? Is it the Grizzlies?
It's the Grizzlies, but
sometimes I've seen. I think maybe on their helmet they have Grizz or something like that.
They do.
Okay, I thought they were somewhere.
They do,
and they're perfect at 8-0 after beating Weber State. They have 4-5 Eastern Washington coming up.
Yeah, I mean, they historically, it's been them, not Montana State, that has been the pride of Montana. And they have struggled the last decade because they can't beat North Dakota State. And then when North Dakota State slips, it's South Dakota State that shows up. So this is a very good program. And this year they've kind of asserted themselves. They got a big game coming up in a week or two with Montana State. So we're going to learn more about them then.
And still at number 1, North Dakota State, 9-0, 38-30 winners against Youngstown State. And they have, as we said, North Dakota on the road coming up.
Yeah, in Youngstown State, that's where
Jim Tressel.
Tressel and Pelini went there.
Oh, yeah, Bo Pelini, yeah.
Yeah, he went there after the kind of a fiasco at the end there in Nebraska. But nonetheless, Youngstown State is a rich, it has a rich history in college football. And I would tell you, when I saw the score, I was a little surprised. I did not think it would be this close. And yet, they're going to play them. And I'll tell you, this time they stepped up in this game and had some chances at the end.
Well, that's the FCS Top 15 from Sully's College Football page. Coming up, our second hour of the show, we'll start off with a special.
We will
10-game challenge.
Yeah, we've got one of the great guys in our area, guy that always deferred to with golf, and as great a teacher of that game that Buck is. I think when he looks at my swing, it might be a little even beyond his skill set. So, we're fortunate to have him. He's been a great sponsor over the years.
All right, so we'll have that coming up next here on Sully's College Football page on 98.9 WXCO.
Buck Welsh has been working in the golf business since 1976, became a PGA member in 1984, and has been teaching for over 40 years. His philosophy has always been to work with the individual golfer, building on the way they do things and making them better with what they have to work with. Call Buck at 715-581-2646 or check out the website www.bucksgolfshop.com to get more info about lessons.
Eye Clinic of Wisconsin believes that clear vision and hearing are priceless. Eye Clinic of Wisconsin is equipped to handle all your eye and hearing care needs. When you need specialty and surgical eye care, why not work with the best? Let the team of professionals at Eye Clinic of Wisconsin see you. Eye Clinic of Wisconsin has 7 convenient locations that include Wausau, Amtigo, Medford, Merrill, Rhinelander, Stevens Point, and Wisconsin Rapids. Visit their Facebook page or website at www.eyeclinicwi.com. Eye Clinic of Wisconsin, one vision, yours.
As a proud member of the Wausau, Marathon, Edgar, and Athens communities, Peterson Kramer Funeral Home has built a reputation for having a deep commitment to personal service. When you need compassionate concern and expert guidance day or night, Peterson Kramer Funeral Home is the one to call. You can trust them to take care of every detail at a time it matters most. Located in Wausau, Marathon, Edgar, and Athens, Peterson Kramer Funeral Home, friends you've trusted and depended on since 1914. Krasowski Dental offers the most effective cosmetic and neuromuscular dentistry procedures and treatments. When you walk through the doors, you'll experience an incredibly comfortable and pleasant atmosphere where you'll be treated like family. Krasowski Dental offers 24-hour emergency service and care so you don't have to wait, and offers many of the newest dental technologies and perks to make your dental experience comfortable and less stressful. Schedule your appointment now with Krasowski Dental, North 17th Avenue, Wausau.
Don't you just love a good football game? Don't you just love a new car or a new truck or a new motorcycle? And don't you just love saving money? Then you'll love Clover Belt Credit Union, your go-to team for saving money with a great rate vehicle loan. Great rates are what make Clover Belt the leader in vehicle loans. Cars, trucks, motorcycles, ATVs. If it's got a motor and it rolls on wheels, Clover Belt Credit Union has the great rate financing you want. Give us a call and we'll get your great rate loan rolling. Clover Belt Credit Union, your team for great rates.
The Dirks Group started in 1999 as an alternative to traditional IT service providers. From the start, they focused on customized solutions for the needs of each client. Today, they serve over 400 customers from locations in Wausau and Eau Claire. Go to dirksgroup.com for more information.
Charity's Bar in Marathon City. Great food, great service, a great place to meet friends. Come on down and watch the game or just hang out. It's Charity's Bar on County Road and in Marathon City.
Witness the difference at Newman Catholic Schools, where education is embraced by the Christian faith and students are held to a high standard of academic excellence. Schedule a tour and learn what it means to be a Newman Catholic Cardinal. Visit NewmanCatholicSchools.com to learn more.
WXCO 1230 AM, W255DN Wausau, streaming at bullfallsradio.com.
And welcome back. It is Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices, and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. I am Chad Holmes along with Sully. And Sully, we're going to do something a little different today for our 10-game challenge. Of course, it all starts with one of your sponsors, somebody that's been with you for a long time, helping bring the website to folks, bring the radio show to folks as well. Let's start there. Who is your special sponsor guest here today?
Okay, it's a guy that I've known for many years. Was introduced to him at least 30 years ago by Jimmy DeBrew, a common buddy that we had, and have known Buck ever since, and have talked to him over the years about my golf swing, to which Buck is a great golf teacher, but like I said earlier, that might be even beyond his skill level to do. But anyway, Buck has been a great friend of the show, has sponsored us for many, many years. And whenever I need golf equipment, every year I go to Buck and I get whatever we think may help our game. And so he's always been my go-to guy there. So Buck, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
And Buck, you work with a radio. I mean, you live with a radio guy. You got to be closer to the microphone, like your son does every day with me. So you gotta lift your game up along with learn something from your son here, because he always is very good about being right in front of that microphone. And Buck, I got to put your headphones on, because we're gonna be able to hear across the way. Because usually we just have one person go against Sully. Today, we're going to have Ian and Buck pick the games. Because Ian, of course, is our engineer. He is with me every day on the morning show. And Ian, you are going to be part of picking these 10 games as well today.
Surprise, Dad.
So you're going to go head-to-head here. We're head-to-head.
Yeah. Hey, and before we begin, Buck, there's something I really want to mention. I want to thank you, Ian, for your sponsorship and all our sponsors. Buck, because as a result of your willingness to partner with Sully's College Football Page, we were able to reach our 2024 goal of donating $1,500 to volunteers, private and charitable institutions in our area and beyond. And these donations, Buck, that you make responsible, went to Hager House, the Women's Community, Newman Catholic Schools, the Good News Project, Maine All Volunteer Fire Department, the Humane Society, Knock MS Out of the Park, St. Vincent de Paul Society, the Wausau Free Clinic, the National MS Society, Children's Miracle Network, and St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So, Buck, on behalf of these services, Bull Falls Radio and Sully's College Football Page, want to say a simple thank you to you and our other sponsors who make these kinds of donations possible. So thanks, Buck.
Yeah, thank you. It's I appreciate that, and it's a wonderful cause to help out and give to, and we would like to do whatever we can. Wanted to say a quick shout out to my sisters in Kansas, if they're listening on the. Try to get them to listen to the show today, but Debbie, Denise, and Diane, they all live in Coffeyville, Kansas, which is where I'm from. And we got Ian on the show too. So hopefully we'll have a good one.
All good.
Well, let's before we actually start the game, because Saul mentioned that he uses your Buck's Golf Shop and just such being a big golf area. Tell us a little bit about Buck's Golf Shop. What can people get at Buck's Golf Shop?
Biggest thing is location. We my shop is at 903 Grand Avenue in Rothschild, and it's on the old Bushka and Bushka building, insurance building there, and on the east side. I've got a new sign out by the road, which don't know if Ian noticed that this morning driving here, but it's a nice new sign to kind of give our location where we're at. I carry new and used golf equipment. We specialize in having the teams, Badgers, Brewers, Bucks, Packers, of course. You also can get other teams. They have themed golf bags with Star Wars, Spider-Man, Marvel Universe, and you can get just about anything. We got a Sully, a White Sox bag a couple of years ago. So if you're looking for any team from major leagues, hockey, baseball, football, whatever, those are all available to us, and they add a little flair to people's game, I would have to say.
And I got to tell you, Buck, I get a lot of comments about my White Sox bag. And I always tell them this is about little Louis Aparicio and Nellie Fox and
Go Sox.
Yeah, they don't know. They kind of stare at me blankly, but that bag has been an instrument of a lot of conversation at Rib.
Well, let's jump in. Let's do it. Our 10-game challenge, and we'll start with ACC, a couple of traditional powers who are struggling just a little bit. You got Clemson and Florida State. We're going to start with Buck here for this one.
I'm picking Clemson in this one. Just looks like a good number for them to win.
And Ian, what do you think?
I'm going to say Florida State for this one.
Hey, already we got a difference here.
Yeah.
1-1, and then we have the man whose name is on the website. Sully.
And Ian, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to go with Buck on this. Clemson is at home, and they have struggled mightily. And I don't think Dabo has handled this as well as he really needs to, given all the success he's had. But anyway, I think Clemson finds a way.
Well, now I'm rooting for Florida State because we want to see Ian get that one right over both you guys. Our next game, Penn State and Indiana. And again, normally the team that would be in the top 2 in the country would be Penn State in this matchup, but now it's Indiana. While Penn State's still looking for that first conference win. Sully, you're up first.
Well, Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback at Indiana, has had an absolutely spectacular year. And while Penn State still has that roster, I don't think it'll matter. I think Indiana's on a mission, and they're going to go in there and get this done.
Ian, what do you think? Penn State or Indiana?
Well, I'm a fan of underdogs, so I'm going to say Penn State.
Oh, he's going for the again. And Buck, what about you? Are you going to stick with Sully or Ian?
I'm going opposite what Ian's going. So we're going to either win big or lose big. But Indiana, it's amazing to me how they have flipped the script on Wisconsin was a much better football team than Indiana. Now Indiana's taken their place, and in basketball, Wisconsin really is a much better team than Indiana. So it's interesting how that's all worked out as far as how they've improved their team in a short period of time.
Our third game, speaking of which, the Wisconsin Badgers, and they're taking on the Washington Huskies, and Buck wearing the W, the motion W, both on the pullover and on the hat as well. Are you gonna say that the Badgers are gonna win their first Big Ten game this year?
Yes, going with my heart, and my wife Barb and my daughter Hannah both went to UW, and we're going to pick the Wisconsin to win. And when they're going to win 4 of their next 5 games.
Ooh.
They won't quite make it over 500 though, right? But
4 wouldn't do it.
Yeah, they'll win 4.
If they win 4, then that'd get them to 6. That'd get them to 500.
You would be quite the optimist, I will say that much. And Ian, who do you like, Badgers or Washington?
I'm sticking with the family on this one. I'm sticking with Wisconsin.
And
Badgers all the way.
What about
you? I am pleased to hear that Buck is that optimistic about the Badgers.
He gets it from me.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. I just think that Washington is still in the midst of playing for a lot. They've got a huge game at the end of the year with Oregon at home. And I think they're going to take care of business today. I think they go in, and sad to report, for the second year in a row, Bucky will be bowl ineligible.
All right. So 2 out of 3 for the Badgers. That's not bad. And then we have Hawaii and San Diego State. Both teams actually having pretty good years. May not notice them as much out there in the Mountain West. But Sully, you're up first.
Yeah, this is Sean Lewis. Very good coach, has some Wisconsin ties. He was with Dion Buck a couple of years ago. When he was at Kent State, they had an offense called, because they were the Golden Flashes, it was flash quickly. He's a very good coach. And the thing about them, Chad, they're still alive for that, that group of 5 invite to the dance. Timmy Chang, the coach at Hawaii, Buck, done a real good job there. Great quarterback when June Jones was there. But I think San Diego State goes out to Hawaii and gets this done. So I'm going with the Aztecs.
This time, Buck, will let you go before Ian.
I'm going with Hawaii. Normally I would say it's a tough trip to go out to Hawaii to play a football game, but coming from San Diego to Hawaii, there's pretty good 2 environments there. But I'm going to pick Hawaii to win this game.
And Ian, Hawaii or San Diego State?
Well, for the first time, I'm going to agree with my dad. I'm going to go with Hawaii.
Oh, okay. So we got 2 different and 2 the same right here. Then our 5th game, Miami and Syracuse. Miami, boy, they've kind of led a potential playoff start to slip away. Syracuse comes off a tough loss against Belichick in North Carolina. Ian, we'll let you go first this time.
I'm going to say Syracuse on this one.
Going with the upset, the orange of Syracuse over the Hurricanes. Buck, what about you?
We're going with Miami.
And so,
Ian, I'm sorry, but I got to go with Buck on this one. Look at last year, if you remember, Miami's woes started with Syracuse. They were like 9-0 and got beaten that game. I think they're going to come back and say, this year, although we've had struggles, this is where we're going to resurrect ourselves and we're going to win out. So I think Hawaii, not Hawaii, like Hawaii, in terms of the weather, Miami gets it done.
It is Sully's College Football page of the 10-game challenge. Our guests are Ian Welsh, our in-studio engineer, and also Buck Welsh from Buck's Golf Shop. And before we continue, Buck, again, you mentioned the new sign and the specialty items at Buck's Golf Shop. I imagine this is a great place for somebody like yourself, because golf is really big around here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I don't know if you guys are aware of what Four Seasons is doing back behind Cedar Creek, but they're building an indoor-outdoor driving range along with having a building for their simulators.
It's coming
along. I drive by that almost every day and can see the progress going there. So I think they're hoping to be open in January. But even from a lot of golfers used to be you quit at this time of year, but they definitely have the avenue to continue on. There's 3 or 4 places in the Wausau area that has indoor simulators. There's some pretty good simulators down at in Stevens Point, including Century World, which is they have an indoor driving range there for the winter time. So you don't have to put up your golf clubs for winter. You can still keep your swing going a little bit, and it's been growing a lot.
Let's continue. Game number 6, Notre Dame and Navy. And do I need to ask, Saul, who do you like in this game?
Notre Dame is 81-13. With a couple of change, 2 or 3 ties in the series. Notre Dame, Buck, has won 12 of the last 13 attempts. Last year, Navy turned the ball over 6 times in that game. Harbaugh, they have a really good quarterback who had a broken wrist. So why they were playing him, he couldn't hold on to the ball. Anyway, Buck, I don't think whether Harbaugh's healthy or not matters. Notre Dame gets this win and continues their march towards winning the final 10 after losing the first 2.
Buck, are you as big a Notre Dame guy as Sully is? I'm always curious when the folks that Sully knows, does he make you a Notre Dame fan because since you've known him for so long?
Well, I grew up in the Catholic Church,
Yeah.
and I think that's almost a natural connection with Notre Dame. I know growing up in the 60s, I remember Jim Lynch as a
There you go.
linebacker who went on to the Kansas City Chiefs,
Yeah.
and those are and I remember the 10-10 tie, Michigan State and Notre Dame.
We never talk about that.
We don't talk about that one, but yeah. So I have a fondness for Notre Dame, and
so you're gonna pick Navy? No, who are you
gonna? No, yeah. Well, we got to go with Notre Dame on this one for sure.
And Ian, Notre Dame or Navy?
I think I'm going to go with the Navy on this.
That's
one.
what we like to hear.
Ian, you're gonna have to go stand in a corner over there and count to 10.
I'm gonna be watching these games specifically because if Ian gets all these right, we're gonna bring him on as the new expert next week.
Oh, jeez.
So it's like he's got all these upset picks here.
That.
No, I am gonna be rooting for Florida State. I'm gonna be rooting for Syracuse, and I'm gonna be rooting for Navy to make Ian look like the new Jimmy the Greek here or something like that. But
that'll translate, right, Buck? That translates to time in purgatory if you cheer against Notre Dame.
Oh yeah.
Our next game, a massive game again, Alabama and LSU. Well, LSU get the new coach bump after firing Brian Kelly. Alabama still right in the mix as well, near the top of the rankings. They had that tight one against South Carolina recently, but Alabama and LSU. And Ian, we're going to go with you first this time. Ian,
let's see.
Alabama or LSU?
Well, I'm going to go with LSU on this one. I'm going to say LSU.
Another upset pick from Ian. Buck, what about you? What do you think?
Alabama.
And I'm going with Ty Simpson. I think that this guy is going to make a big difference in this game. Alabama is going to get this game, and it wouldn't surprise me if they get away from LSU tonight.
No, I think he's got all these. You ought to put a little on from Vegas because you make big money with some of these picks. I tell you. Missouri and Texas A&M, and Texas A&M right there near the top. I think number 3 in the first college football rankings. Mizzou still there battling it out. Sol, you're up first.
Yes. And I'm going to say this, Buck, I'm a little suspicious of Texas A&M. This year, stay with me now, because this is going to surprise you. They haven't played Alabama. They haven't played Georgia. They haven't played Ole Miss. They haven't played Vanderbilt. They haven't played Oklahoma. They haven't played Texas. And now today, they're finally playing Missouri. So I'm saying in terms of A&M and the competition, other than a big win at Notre Dame where they scored 41 points on Notre Dame, which I'm still trying to exercise. The reality here is they're a little bit of a question mark, Chad, because they just haven't played the best in the SEC. That said, I'm taking A&M in this game.
And Buck, what about you? Who do you like, Mizzou or Texas A&M?
A quick note is that the sad thing about all of this is I used to know what every conference played, and the old Southeastern Conference was Texas A&M, Texas, all those teams.
Preach.
I don't even know who's in what conference anymore.
Preach.
When
we
you're
like this.
When you're talking about not playing teams, now a lot of the rivalries have gotten away. You got too many teams in the super conferences, and they miss playing people. So I'm after all said and done, I'm picking Texas A&M to win that game.
And Ian, what about you?
I think I'm going to go with Texas A&M on this one.
All right, then our ninth game, Texas Tech and BYU. Again, two teams that are fighting it out at the top of the Big 12 conference. And Buck, you're up first.
Big 12. Okay, so
gotta let you know.
The only time Texas Tech and BYU would play would be in the bowl game.
Right.
But Texas Tech, we're going with them.
Ian, what about you?
I'm going to say BYU on this one.
There you go. And so, what about
Well,
you?
I was reading an article the other day, Buck, and it was talking about Texas Tech D-line. They call it the $7 million D-line, $7 million, because that's what those guys cumulatively are being paid to play there.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm going to say that Texas Tech remains the best team in the Big 12. BYU's unbeaten. Texas Tech has a loss, but I still like Texas Tech in this game.
Very good. And now we got our final game, and I think the game of the day. I think this one is just a really fun one to watch. Iowa and Oregon.
Okay.
So Iowa Hawkeyes, Oregon Ducks in Iowa City. Sully, what do you think?
Yeah, we did put this as the day's best game. In part, Buck, this is a struggle for the style of game. Oregon wants to play in space. Iowa wants to play in the meat house. They want to get that game inside the tackles. Oregon wants to spread it out. So in a sense, it's a battle for control of the type of game. While I am certainly for Iowa, I think Oregon's going to prevail. I think at some point, Oregon's speed's going to get away from them. So I like Oregon to win this game.
This time, Ian, who do you like?
Surprisingly, I'm going to say Oregon on this one.
Okay.
I think the Ducks are going to pull out a win.
The Ducks
won't be
are
a big
gonna-
win, but it'll be a slight win.
Ducks are going to quack?
Yeah, I think so. Just like the Mighty Ducks.
There you go. And Buck, what about you? Your final pick?
Well, this is betting with my heart again. I'm going to pick Iowa to win this game.
Ooh.
And it could be 7-6 as you guys were talking about earlier. It's but they've played well and they're playing in Iowa City, and it's going to be a little cool for the Ducks to play there.
You're exactly right.
So
there.
I think I'd like to see Iowa win, and that's what I'm going to pick them.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So that is the 10-game challenge, and it'll be very fun to watch some of the results of this one to see, especially how Ian does on some of these picks. I'm gonna
have to do Italian.
There you go.
I should get
I'm gonna let you know next week on the show how you
Oh,
did.
thank
So
you.
We're gonna figure that out. And Buck, again, final words. Buck's Golf Shop. I mean, it's wonderful to talk about golf in the month of November because it continues.
For sure. Yeah. It's, asking people to come down to my shop, check things out, have new and used equipment, and take in trades and that kind of thing. And whatever somebody's looking for, we certainly would have it there. So make a trip down to my golf shop and see what we got.
And I got to tell you, a few years ago, Buck sold me a 9-wood.
Yeah, I remember
It's
that.
the only it's the only wood that I have that the ball actually goes up. So it's been at Rib. It's a great club, and we've been working our way back. We went 9, 7, 5. Now, Buck, I'll be seeing you this year for a 3-wood.
I don't need a 3-wood, Sully. 11-wood is a better way to go.
That might be right.
Well, Buck, again, thanks for popping on over. It's a lot of fun, and we'll compare you and Ian after when this is all said and done.
Thanks for coming on the show,
will
Dad.
we will keep track of that. No problem. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it, and good luck with the rest of the shows. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be right back. More rankings coming up as we continue. We'll have the Group of 5 coming up next here on 98.9 WXCO.
Where did the good old days go? From going to the old A&W drive-in to cruising the strip in town, all things change. Some things stay consistent. For almost 75 years, Redant Insurance in Rib Mountain has been providing quality service to its customers. One of the oldest agencies in the area. Your family and neighbors come here. Now it's your turn. Call 715-845-9204. Click redantinsurance.com or stop by 227501 Rib Mountain Drive. Redant Insurance Agency, our family helping yours.
Tommy's Express Car Wash at 102 Bridge Street in Wausau and 1611 Schofield Avenue in Weston has the tools and experience to keep your car clean inside and out. Our wash packages let you pay for the services you want, including Tommy Garden Body Wax, wheel cleaning and tire gloss, an underbody flush and spot-free rinse. Give your vehicle the cleaning it deserves at Tommy's Express at 102 Bridge Street in Wausau and 1611 Schofield Avenue in Weston.
Kemp Service Center was established in 1951 and to this day is still family owned. That's 70 years of serving the Wausau area with the best in auto and truck repair. Kemp certified mechanics service all makes and models, including imports. Don't wait to the last minute to get your oil changed. Kemp's can get the job done in no time. Kemp Service Center is open Monday through Saturday at the corner of North 6th Street and East Wausau Avenue in Wausau.
You don't have to choose between personal, hometown service, and the latest banking technology. Brokaw Credit Union has it all. Whether you're looking to finance your first home, grow your savings, or get a new set of wheels, we're here to help. Check us out at brokawcu.com. It's hard to find great Italian food in Wausau unless you're familiar with Carmelo's Italian Restaurant. Established in 1986 by the Oliva family, 3 generations still strive to provide a family atmosphere and fine dining experience. Carmelo's is proud to serve authentic Italian made with fresh ingredients. Their recipes have been handed down from generation to generation. Reservations are recommended Tuesdays through Sundays, and they are closed on Mondays. Carmelo's Italian Restaurant, located at the base of Granite Peak on North Mountain Road, Wausau. Check them out at carmelositalian.com.
And welcome back. Sully's College Football page on 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices, and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. So we're going to have to go flying.
Oh, yeah.
We're kind of behind here because we had so much time, so much fun there in our 10-game challenge. But the group of 5. And again, it's getting very interesting. And again, boy, there's a lot of competition in the group of 5 when you look at it. I mean, lots of really good football programs, and you see good teams getting beat. And again, it's really pretty wild, isn't it?
Well, you know, that American Conference, when you look at some of those teams, East Carolina is capable. I remember one year when East Carolina beat every team in North Carolina that they played. Wake, North Carolina, and North Carolina State. They avoided Duke. North Texas. Memphis, Toledo, all of those teams are capable, not to mention Army and Navy. Army won it a year ago. They beat Tulane in the championship game. So that conference, and then, you know, you and I have talked about the Mountain West, and we've talked about the Sun Belt. So great players and teams in that group of 5.
And of course, you can get all these rankings, take your time, really delve into them by going to SullysCollegeFootballPage.com. But we're going to go in group of 4 here with the group of 5. Number 20, Arkansas State from the Sun Belt, 5-4. Number 19, Ohio from the MAC, 5-3. Number 18, Connecticut Independent under Coach Jim Mora Jr. And number 17, UNLV going in the wrong direction. Boy, a massive win for New Mexico last week in Vegas. So those are the bottom 4 of the top 20.
Yeah, and a couple quick things. Butch Jones is the coach at Arkansas State. People remember him from Central Michigan, Cincinnati. He was at Tennessee for a while.
Right.
It didn't always go real well there. And then Danny Mullen at UNLV, you know, Chad, he may be being victimized like some of the schools in that his name is coming up for a lot of these jobs. And you wonder what kind of distraction the players at UNLV are going through.
You're exactly right there. Number 16, Old Dominion, 6-3 from the Sun Belt. Miami of Ohio, number 15 at 5-3 from the MAC. Boise State, boy, oh boy, they take a dip. They're 6-3 after Fresno State whooped them up 30-7 last week. And Hawaii from the Mountain West, 6-3, but they had a tough loss to San Jose State. Again, anybody can beat anybody, I think, in these leagues.
You know, I got to tell you, Miami of Ohio, Chuck Martin there is one of my favorite coaches. You know, he was an assistant in a while for Notre Dame. And until Marcus Freeman, I would say he was the best assistant Kelly had. But that score, Chad, when I saw 30-7, I thought for a minute it was one of those misprints that Fresno beat them that badly. And then, you know, San Jose, you know, has not been as good as they were under Brett Brennan. And yet they went out to Hawaii and took care of business there.
Number 12, your Tulane Green Wave. And man, I imagine they'll be going up because of that big win against Memphis last night. You got Fresno State up to number 11 after that big win against Boise. They're 6-3. New Mexico, number 10. And again, their coach, who's going to be the next Badger coach.
That's Eck, our boy Eck.
Yep, Jason Eck. So a huge win against UNLV last week. They're number 10, and Kennesaw State is number 9 at 6-2.
You know, Tulane, I want to start there. People don't know their history. You know, they were a founding member of the SEC.
Right.
Their football tradition is significant. The thing about them is they're 6-2, but one of their losses is to Ole Miss. So that win last night put them right back in it. They can get to the American. And Chad, you know, I think we're both comfortable with saying the representative for the tournament is going to come from the American.
Absolutely. Now up to number 8, Southern Miss. They're 6-2 after a win against Louisiana Monroe. Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers are 7-2 after beating the Aggies of New Mexico State. Number 6, James Madison, and I've been hearing some rumbles about their coach perhaps being a name to watch on some of these open spots. James Madison 7-1 after putting a 63 spot on ODU. And San Diego State, you mentioned a team that's really made a mark this year, 7-1 after their win against Wyoming and their big game against Hawaii coming up. San Diego State, number 5.
And you know, that was a good point you made about James Madison. If they keep winning, they're going to get in the name dropping as a potential Conference USA getting that it would be somewhat of a long shot because of the perception of that league compared to the perception of the American, but not when it comes to them. That team can flat out play. And of course, Southern Miss, you know, that's Farb's old team.
That's right.
And you know, the bottom line is they're playing a lot better. And San Diego State may be right now in the mix, like at an even level for getting that rep into the tournament as well as they've played.
Number 4, Navy. They had that loss to North Texas, and that's what you picked last week. You said they were going to lose for the first time to North Texas. They get the Notre Dame tonight, and then North Texas 8-1 after beating Navy. You have South Florida. They're 6-2, and Memphis, number 1 this week, but I imagine that's going to change after they lost last night to Tulane.
You know, we'll see what happens tonight with Navy, but I got to tell you, as I kind of look at this, I'm thinking North Texas may now be the team that's elevated over South Florida, although that would be difficult to do because these teams played and South Florida won that game. There were 96 points scored in it, and South Florida had 63 of them. North Texas had 36.
How good is North Texas? And I think bigger picture wise, because, you know, I've been saying for a long time that Notre Dame will get the benefit of the doubt if they're right on the bubble and get into that tournament. How would North Texas fare if they got in? Would it be a good thing? Would it be a bad thing? Would it be just a quick take on this?
Well, here's the problem right off the top. They're going to be the 12th seed, so they're going to get 5, and then if they were to survive, they're going to get 1.
Right.
You know, so the deck is kind of stacked against them right now. The number 5 team is Georgia. As good as North Texas is, and they're quite capable.
And they have to go on the road with this system, too.
They would have to go down to Athens. So when you watch them step up and play Power 4 teams, it really depends who they're playing. And if you and I are at 2 of the lower level Big Ten or ACC, SEC teams, we probably don't want to schedule them because, you know, there's the possibility of giving them a mill and losing. So, Chad, I would say they would account themselves well, and it's great that they got there, but I wouldn't have a lot of expectation for them to advance.
And the difference for a team like South Florida is they have played that level this year and beat that level. So I think that would be an interesting team if they did get in. So,
and they hammered Boise to start the season. So. Then they beat Florida.
Yep.
You know, and then of course they ran into Miami, and you can play and beat Miami in November. You just don't want to play them in August and September.
There you go. We're coming back, and we're going to talk about the Power Four, but also kind of delve a little bit in who has the schedules coming up as well. So we'll get into that coming up next as we continue here on Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO.
The Men's Cafe, serving old-fashioned American comfort food in a cozy atmosphere. Whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, your choice is the Men's Cafe. Call ahead for carryouts, deliveries to downtown Wausau, and catering is also available. Check them out at mintcafewausau.com.
Looking for a part for your vehicle? Look to Hilltop Auto Wrecking in Wausau. Hilltop Auto Wrecking can help you find just about any part you need for your car, truck, or SUV. They have a great selection of auto glass and tires with lots of sizes ready to go. Hilltop Auto Wrecking is always looking to buy vehicles, so if you're stuck with an older junker, they can haul it away for cash. Hilltop Auto Wrecking, family owned and operated for over 40 years at 237-934 Del Rio Road, formerly 6806 North 33rd Street, Wausau. Call 715-675-3258. Are you looking to furnish a new home, apartment, or cabin? Are you looking for quality clothing at a reasonable price? Well, if you are, be sure to stop at St. Vincent de Paul at 131 West Thomas Street in Wausau. Make them your first stop, your one-stop shop for furniture, clothing, accessories, home products, and much more. And remember, St. Vincent de Paul in Wausau is more than just a thrift store. It's a local ministry meeting the needs of our community. Your purchases benefit those in need right here at home. So shop St. Vincent de Paul at 131 West Thomas Street in Wausau, where your purchases benefit your neighbors.
Since 1997, Mountain Bay Auto Care has been serving Central Wisconsin with top quality and affordable car repair and service. With ASC certified mechanics. Stop by 5702 Stella Avenue in Schofield or call 715-355-8646.
The warmth of your home is about making memories with family and friends and enjoying life celebrations. At Menzner Hardwoods of Marathon, they understand the importance of bringing warmth to a place you call home. For over a century, their fifth-generation family business has been creating beautiful woodwork for the home and office, just as they have for over 130 years. Menzner Hardwoods looks forward to providing you with elegant wood products to enhance the beauty of your home or office. Visit them at menznerhardwoods.com. Menzner Hardwoods, timeless beauty for your home or office.
The Eat Fresh Refresh doesn't stop at your local Wausau Subways. When the urge hits, make sure to stop by any of the 4 Wausau Subway locations at 1609 Merrill Avenue, 330 East Bridge Street, 1819 West Stewart Avenue, and 4300 Rib Mountain Drive in Walmart. Catering, remote ordering, curbside pickup, and Subway delivery all available. And make sure to use the Subway app when you need Subway. Subway with 4 Wausau locations.
Buck's Golf Shop for all of your golfing needs. Located at 903 Grand Avenue, Suite C8, Rothschild, Wisconsin, 54474 in the Bushka & Bushka Insurance Building on the east side. Specializing in Badger, Bucks, Brewer, and Packer golf-related items. Green Tag sale is 30% off the retail price. Call 715-581-2646 or email wellsgolf@pcpros.net.
At People's State Bank, we think checking accounts are like SUVs. That's why we offer more features to fuel your lifestyle. The best part? You can open an account without leaving your driveway. Just visit bankpeoples.com today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO. It's time to talk about the top 25 when it comes to the Power 4. And again, as we go through this, we have to go through it rather quickly. It's all here on the website, SullysCollegeFootballPage.com. In fact, you go to the radio show at the top, you're going to hear us talking about teams and also schedules coming up. It's all listed right there. So again, go to SullysCollegeFootballPage.com and then click on radio show to get further information. Let's talk about the 25 through 22. Tennessee. Boy, the high expectations have gone the other direction for the Vols. They're 6-3, number 25. Pittsburgh finally cracking the top 25. Panthers 7-2 at number 24. Washington, who the Badgers face, number 23. Mizzou at number 22. And again, as we look at the schedules, Pittsburgh has the potential to make the biggest move because they play some tough teams.
Well, people say, the schedule is very difficult as it's a negative. You can flip that. Pittsburgh has a way to play themselves right into the championship game in the ACC. They got Notre Dame, which would not impact the ACC, but it would impact their national standing if they can get that done. And then Georgia Tech and Miami. Pitt is in a great position to get into the ACC championship game.
Number 21, Michigan, and they've just sort of been hanging around. We're still kind of waiting to either they're going to move up or move out, but they're just hanging around. Not impressive in their win against Purdue. Number 20, Iowa. They've got massive opportunities coming up. Oregon, USC, Nebraska still on their schedule. USC still has Iowa and Oregon at number 19, and Miami, number 18. And a lot of folks are going after Mario Cristobal by saying that he's got top 5 talent, but he's not getting into the tournament for 2 years in a row, it looks like at this point.
No, he actually has a losing record in late October and through November. Now, chances are he's playing some of the better teams in the ACC later. But nonetheless, Miami is struggling right now. But like we said, get this done, with Syracuse, and then win out and get to that ACC championship
By
game.
the way, I read a story that the ACC has the potential of having 4, 5, 6 teams all tied to try to figure out who's going to be in that ACC championship game. And there's a list of all these ways, and may go down just a flip of a coin, because there's a possibility of having not just 2 or 3 or 4 people, but 5 or even 6 teams tied at the end of the regular season.
Well, yeah, if you do the math, and like Chad was saying, I encourage you to go to the site. And we've got all of these teams listed, and we identify what conference they're in, and then their schedule, through the close of the season.
Taking a dip, number 17, Georgia Tech. They lost to North Carolina State. Dave Doran with a big upset last week. Vandy still there at number 16. Louisville, number 15, and Virginia, number 14. And Virginia, I mean, how many rabbits can they pull their hat, and how good are they?
Some teams don't play 3 overtime games in 5 years. They play 3 of them in 1.
And then they'll keep being at the tables and rolling the dice and, hey, another win.
And they keep winning them. So, I think people are very suspicious of how good they actually are. They've got Wake this week. Then they got to go to Duke, which will be a problem. And then they've got a rivalry game in Virginia Tech. So it'll be interesting to see how they do to close out.
I got Utah at number 13. They've been sort of hanging around.
Yes.
The 2 losses are the ones that kind of stick out to Tech and also to BYU, but they're winning everything else and looking pretty good doing it. Oklahoma, they had that huge win against Tennessee, so they're still right there. And Texas, with that win against Vanderbilt last week, puts themselves right back in there real quickly. Number 11, Texas. If they get into the playoff, they still have some work to do. They got Georgia and Texas A&M still on their schedule. How dangerous do you think they would be?
Oh, I think that when you look at what they have on the defensive side of the ball, and you look at the overall talent they have on offense, and then, nobody talks about Manning having sat for 2 years. The kid's playing his way back into it. And on that level, and given the pressure he's under, which is immense, I think you're starting to see a little bit of different play from him, where he's getting more comfortable with what's going on around him. I think Texas is quite capable. Coming into the season, they were certainly one of the favorites to win it all. And, they have 2 losses. Granted, they've had some close calls, but nonetheless, they're a kind of team you really don't want to be spending too much time playing.
And if they win out, Georgia, Arkansas, and Texas A&M, and again, you can see these schedules on the site, they would easily, and they probably be get away from the bottom seeds and actually have a pretty decent seat too.
Well, the pundits in the SEC are already talking that Texas should get in at 9-3. I would beg to differ, at least in part. But if they win out, they're definitely in. If they lose to Georgia, which is a huge ask to go there and beat them, and then they've got their main rival, A&M. I know people say Oklahoma.
And the thing about that last game is the last time you get a chance to make an impression, if they do beat Texas A&M, even with losing to Georgia, hypothetically, that last statement is always one that kind of stays at the top of the mind, and that could help them as well.
Yeah, and while I'm not, enthralled by the fact that they could get in at 9-3, they can. They can for exactly what you said.
And I will say, I'm not a Texas fan, but I will say that playing Ohio State on the road to start their season should not be a penalty.
Exactly right. We want these games, and unless you go schedule them, or if you're going to be penalized for scheduling them, then why schedule them?
Exactly.
So I think that is on people's mind as well.
We will delve into the top 10 coming up next. Sully's college football page, 98.9 WXCO.
Crab River Golf Course in Wausau is a unique 18-hole public course. The relaxed atmosphere and breathtaking Northwood scenery is sure to make your golfing day a satisfying experience. For membership information and tee times, call Crab River Golf Course at 715-675-3044.
France Propane at 1153 Foundry Street in Schofield is a local family-owned complete service company serving central Wisconsin for over 2 generations. France Propane is a value-driven company whose goal every day is to provide excellent service, maintain the highest safety, reliability in customer care, and competitive pricing. France Propane, service first, safety always. Check out France Propane at francepropane.com. For over 30 years, Webco has worked with corporations, schools, organizations on their apparel and promotional needs. Webco can handle small quantities to orders in the thousands with a fast turnaround. Webco of Wausau, 1405 West Thomas Street. This holiday season, experience the magic of Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker, presented by Central Wisconsin School of Ballet at the Grand Theater in Wausau. Join Flare Up, the Nutcracker Prince, and the Sugar Plum Fairy for an unforgettable journey through the land of sweets. With dazzling costumes, stunning choreography, and a cast of talented dancers, it's a holiday tradition the whole family will cherish. Performances are December 6th at 1:30 and 7 p.m. and December 7th at 1 p.m. Tickets available now at the Grand Theater box office. Don't miss the wonder of the Nutcracker.
North End Pub, cold beer, clever conversation, all stories cross-referenced for validity. If you're looking for a nice spot to hang with friends, North End Pub will do the trick. Stop in for thirst relief today. North End Pub, North 3rd Avenue, Wausau.
Big Fat Designs can give your company the cutting-edge look it needs to attract customers and stand out from the rest. From websites and print designs to logos and letterheads, Big Fat Designs is your effective and affordable marketing solution. E-commerce, online customer database, video and audio players, Big Fat Designs does it all. And the best part, you deal with someone locally to talk with, to meet with, working hands-on towards your success. Big Fat Designs in Wausau. Find out more online at bigfatdesigns.com.
Witness the difference at Newman Catholic Schools, where education is embraced by the Christian faith and students are held to a high standard of academic excellence. Schedule a tour and learn what it means to be a Newman Catholic Cardinal. Visit newmancatholicschools.com to learn more.
Sully's college football page on 98.9 WXCO. Let's get to the top 10 here, Salt. Number 10, Notre Dame, and number 9, Oregon. And as you look at both those teams, the one thing that jumps out, and again, check out the site, that Oregon has a much tougher run-in. They have some very tough games coming up.
Hey, I'll be amazed if Oregon runs the table here. I picked them to win tonight, but we both know that they're at risk tonight against Iowa. They've later got SC, and SC could win that game 65-63. And then they've got Washington there. So you're 100%. That's a challenge.
And I think Notre Dame will be pretty significant favorites in all 4 of their final games, right?
Yeah, Pitt, Pat Narduzzi, if he was at Cousin Louis' funeral, he'd find some way to talk about Notre Dame and how they're overranked. The other thing I'll mention quickly is Texas right now is 11th. They were bumped out by Virginia, who is currently 14th. And Oklahoma was bumped out by Memphis, who lost last night. So 11 and 12 got bumped. So when people say it's the 12 best teams, I would say to you, Ken, no, it isn't. No. It is not the 12 best.
Number 8, Texas Tech, still right there, and BYU number 7. And again, those two teams face off tonight.
I got to tell you, when I read that headline, I chuckled about the 7 million defensive line. So I got to tell you, I'm going to be tuned in on them. And I really like Texas Tech to get this done.
Well, you've been saying all year that BYU, you've been sort of stiff arming the BYU team for a few weeks, haven't you?
Yeah, and I like them. I always have. Kalani Sataki has done great work there, and I think they're a very good team. They lost their quarterback, otherwise it might have been a little different because of what he would have brought.
Yeah.
But hey, they're unbeaten, so they've survived that. I just think today they're going to get caught up with.
And then the final 6 are all either SEC or Big Ten. You got
Correct.
4 in a row from the SEC. You got Ole Miss at number 6. You got Georgia at number 5. You got Alabama at number 4. You got Texas A&M at number 3. I mean, you just talk about a bloodbath. and you mentioned a couple of the other SEC teams that are right there with Texas and Oklahoma and everybody else. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's truly just massive talent in the conference.
Vanderbilt has had an outstanding year. And, so is Missouri.
And then you look at the talent of Tennessee. I mean, they're always going to be there. I mean, I wouldn't want to be a coach at Mississippi State. I mean, Levy's he hasn't won a lot, but he's fighting there. I mean, but look at these teams. You got Ole Miss, Georgia, Alabama, Texas A&M. 3 of the teams have a loss. A&M has not lost. How do you feel? And again, looking at the schedule, it looks like pretty... A&M with Mizzou and Texas on the road is pretty tough. I would say Alabama with the home games
against OU,
better schedule. Georgia does have Texas and Georgia Tech, but both at home, so that helps them. As you look at it, where do you think down the stretch for these 4 teams? Who do you like the most successful in the last 4 weeks, and maybe the team that has the most difficulty in the last 4 weeks?
I got to tell you, I think with Ty Simpson, the best team in that foursome is Alabama. Now, the thing I pointed out, and when you do this stuff, you look at it. A&M has not played any of those teams. They have not played Ole Miss. They have not played Georgia, nor have they played Texas. And then we got into a litany of Vandy and Oklahoma. And to date, they haven't played Missouri or Texas. But here's the deal. When you look at Alabama, Georgia has 1 loss. Alabama gave it to them. Ole Miss has 1 loss. Alabama gave it to them. So, you're looking at Alabama. How good are they? And I would tell you, they are maybe the team that's on the biggest mission. They lost that game to Florida State, and everybody and their mother down there wanted the coach, shipped back to someplace. Maybe Singapore.
They were already talking. What's the buyout?
They were taking money at the Sunday church, So those 4 teams, though, any one of them is capable of getting on a roll and doing some serious damage, and that includes getting it done against an Ohio State or an Indiana.
And then finally, number 2 is Indiana. Number 1 is Ohio State. And based on the schedules, I would say it's a pretty good chance that those 2 are 1 and 2 when they face off for the Big Ten championship.
I think it's likely. And it's not a lock.
No, but
because of Michigan, they've been beating Ohio.
That's right.
Last year, it was like Michigan called them out their manhood, and Ohio State bought it. They stopped playing the game in space where they have those great receivers, and they tried to muscle them. That will not happen this year.
And right now, looking at the brackets going into this week's play, and again, it's going to be much different because Memphis lost, but the first round matchups would have been Memphis, number 12, at number 5, Georgia, number 9, Oregon, at number 8, Texas Tech, number 11, UVA, at number 6, Ole Miss, number 10, Notre Dame, at number 7, BYU. Second round, based on the brackets, would be number 4 Alabama, number 5 Georgia, number 1 Ohio State, number 9 Oregon, based on Sully's choice, winning that first round game. Texas A&M, Ole Miss, IU, BYU. So all 12 teams have been mentioned there in those 2 weeks. Anything you want to say about what you see right now? Very early.
I think that the site when we use the simulator, as you know, it's just numbers. But I have to tell you, those numbers become much more accurate as the season goes on and they've played like opponents. But now, you alluded to this. Is winning 8 games in the SEC better than winning 9 games in the Big Ten? Because of the competition the league is deeper. At the top, Penn State faltered this year because we would have said, hey, those 4 teams, with Oregon and Ohio State and Indiana and whether it be Michigan or Penn State, those teams are comparable. But the reality is, when you get down the line, no.
We run out of time so very fast. But it's time to kick things off. Sully, enjoy the Saturday day and night.
Hey, I'm on my way home to get those games going.
And we'll see you next week here on 98.9 WXCO.
WXCO 1230 AM, W255DN Wausau, streaming at bullfallsradio.com.